Hey, welcome back to 39 Below. This is Anthony here, and I want to make a video today on something that's really annoying me. I've been seeing a lot of videos out there. I'm doing my homework, and people are just saying, make $1 million on eBay. Six figures on eBay by using this drop shipper. Sell this item, read this book, act this way, walk this way, all this kind of stuff. And it's a crock of crap. I don't get it. They don't give any solid data. They don't give anything. They just give their opinion, and they're just sitting behind their desk at home with things all going on behind them, and not in an office. Never had a company. Never did half of what I'm sure you guys are doing or attempting to do, or never read the books that they were supposed to read, or went to school, learned. So. Not saying I'm the pro at it, but I did run some numbers. If you have a question or want to challenge me, send me an email. I'll give you credentials of what I have. But I know for a fact that it is obtainable to make $1 million on an annual basis on eBay. It can be done. It has been done, and it can be done. So with that said, I just want to go over a couple of numbers here to show you. I make my notes. I'm a scratch note person, so this is my mind. This is how I think here. But real quick, just the solid data. $1 million on an annual basis comes out to approximately. I always leave about $5,000 slush fund, $5,000 extra because you don't know what might come up. But so it's going to roughly come out to about $995 per year. But $83,333 a month, $19,230 a week, $27.47 daily, which bring to about $114 an hour. To make $1 million a year, gross, not profit, gross. You need to sell about $114 to $125 per hour of merchandise. So what you got to look at now is there's several factors that has to come into play. You got to look at, best thing to do is when you get started, take a couple of months, take 3 months, 4 months, or maybe even 6 months, and then go back and look at your data. Find out what your solid average price per item is. If you don't know that, you'll never get to this next step. Also, the next thing is how many items, there's a percentage of how many items you list comparable to how many items you sell. Okay? Ratio there is very important. You list 500 items, you sell 100 that month, you sold 20% of the items that you list. So again, over 6 months, look at that number. Could be your pricing, could be how you're taking pictures, could be how you list, it could be when you list, at times your auction ends, at times if you're doing buy it now, if you're doing fixed item pricing. There's so many factors that come into play. So over a 6 month period, as you print your reports, your sales reports, you'll be able to see all this data, and you'll get a guesstimate of where you stand and where you have to move the needle to get to that next level here. And so those are some key points there. So what I'm trying to say is basically how much do you need to sell, the exact amount to get to that $1 million mark. So you got to look at your amount per item, how many items sold, and how many to list to reach or exceed that number. So what I'm trying to say is if your average sale price, let's just run some simple numbers. Your average sale price is $50 an item. You need to sell $114 per hour. That's 2.28, right? So you got to sell 2.28 items at average cost of $50 an item to reach $114 an hour. Let me see my notes here. So we're looking at you got to sell about 54 to 55 items per day, 383 items per week, $1,700 or 1,700 items approximately per month. Per year, you're looking at almost 20,000 items, which will bring you to about 995,000. So you could, once you figure out those key numbers, those percentages, then you can run the math backwards. Another thing is inventory. How do you get the inventory to sell $1 million? If your ratio, again, if you're selling 20%, so if buy one of these. These things are great. So if your ratio is 20%, meaning every 500 items that you list, you only sell 100. That's 20%. Okay? So now you got to look at, all right, well, I want to sell 500 items. So how do you figure that out? So you want to jump from 100 to 500. and say your ratio is only at 20%. That's everything consistent. That's without taking better pictures, without listing things differently, without moving your fixed and your auctions and your times and all that. It's keeping everything fixed from all the data from your past 6 months. If you keep everything consistent all the way through, I know I'm talking fast, but what do you have to do to sell now 500 items a month? Okay? The million goal is almost 1,700 items a month. So how do you move from 100 to 500? Comment. It's the 20% number, so it's 2,500. So you go 500 divided by 0.20 is 2,500. So you want to sell. So you got to sell 1,659 items. That's your number. It means your inventory has to be about 8,295 items. 8,300 items is what you have to have up. That's listed, folks. Listed. So you'll have a revolving, so you want to double that in inventory. So you want to have about 16,000 pieces, either through drop shipping, wholesaling, or you have a huge storage unit or a warehouse, or different locations. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, I'll be more than happy to send you. I'll just take a picture and text it to you, heck, of my scribble here. I'm going to blog about it later and get it up. I'm also going to post a little bit here on the computer of some of the numbers. So hope that helps. I'm trying to be real with you and trying to teach you, and that's what 39 Below is about. Like us and subscribe. See you on the flip side.